Welcome back to the Frizz and the Grease podcast with your hosts, Trudeau and D.
Hello, everybody. Another Tuesday, another episode of Frizz and the Grizz. D, what's good, buddy?
Hey, man, what is really good? Chilling, man. What a week. What a week for you, huh? What a week for you. Not as exciting over here, but what's good with you, man? How's everything been?
Good. I survived Las Vegas. I'm still alive. Surprisingly, I'm not sick. I feel like when you go to that city, you should come back with some sort of disease. I feel like a cold or something you can't get rid of for life. But yeah, I feel great, man. I'm still trying to adjust to the time zone difference a little bit, but it's been fun. It was fun.
Farthest, I think, out west, and a little foreshadowing when it comes to the Frizzes 5, because we will be bringing that back for you guys today, was Denver. Is that the same time zone as Vegas?
No, that's Mountain Time Zone. I know that one for a fact because Denver Mountains. Vegas is actually the Pacific Time Zone. I think that's the correct term for it. The farthest.
So 3 hours.
Yeah. It was good though, man. It's weird watching sports. I was telling you before the podcast. I was trying to follow the playoffs, and we're going to talk about a lot of basketball today. I will preface the show by saying that a lot of NBA playoff stuff, but it's hard following the basketball games on the West Coast, at least for someone who lives on the East Coast, because I expect, I eat dinner. I'm like clean up dinner. I can throw on the 7:30 game, whether it's Celtics or the Heat, right? I throw them on as I'm cleaning up dinner. On the West Coast, man, it's like, bro, I'm just like getting in.
Finishing lunch.
Yeah, games start, and the games are all done by 9:30. Like the night games are done. So it's weird.
We were talking about that, and I know that it's, at least for me, I don't know if I could do it when it comes to football season, because like the 1 o'clock kickoffs, like you're starting that at like 11, like 10 o'clock. Like that's
10 o'clock, yeah.
I'm just rolling out of bed, you know what I'm saying? Like on Sunday morning, like I'm trying to that's the day that if I'm gonna relax the most. It's like you wake up and damn, football's already on.
At least it's one day though, right? If you're a fan of baseball or you watch every basketball game, it's tough, man.
Yeah, you were talking about that for your fantasy lineup.
Yeah, the East Coast day game starting at freaking 1 p.m. Eastern time, 10 a.m. West Coast time. It's a rough go at it, but Vegas was fun, man. Survived it. I will say this, people say you only need a couple of days in Las Vegas, and I had fun in Las Vegas. It's a fun city. I could spend more time there, but my wallet could not spend more time.
Yeah, have not been, but I've heard the same, where a lot of people have said you can't go there for like a week. It's got to be like a 3 to 4 day type of thing, and then just get in and get out.
Well, the thing is, like, the whole city of Las Vegas is built to take your money. And I'm not saying casinos, because obviously, like, casinos are there to steal your money. But once you're in Vegas on the Strip, right, every place you go to eat is super expensive. Every drink you buy is super expensive. Every this, every that, everything's super expensive. So there's just no escaping spending your money. I will say this, what was fun is we bought those big ass slushy drinks full of alcohol, and we walked you got to do it, right? You walk the Vegas Strip just drinking slushy alcohols, getting drunk at like noon on a Thursday. That's the way to do it.
Miami Beach is the last time that we did that as a couple. Me and the missus, we went to Miami Beach or South Beach for Memorial Day weekend like 4 or 5 years ago. It was crazy.
I've never been. I hope that's on your potential 5 later. But what's funny is for my 3rd anniversary, I want to say it was a 3rd or 2nd anniversary. My 2nd anniversary, me and my wife had purchased tickets to go to Miami, spend the weekend. That was back in February of 2020, and you know how that turned out. Yeah, that money never got back to me. But yeah, Vegas was fun. I will say this too. Definitely, speaking of those slushy drinks, they definitely ripped me off. I'm pissed about that. I'm not like a heavyweight drinker, man. Like, I have my one White Claw during this podcast, and I'm like pressing every button wrong, all over the place. My man's like, all right, you buy this $37 drink for $37. It gets 3 shots, and I'm like, that's a ripoff, but whatever. Like, it's Vegas. Like that's the going rate in Vegas. I sucked that thing down in 20 minutes, not even. right? And like it was supposed to be like 3 big ass shots. I didn't
Nothing.
shit. I'm like, this is there was water. You just fed me water, man.
The worst, man. Tourist trap.
I know we're just rambling on about Las Vegas, which is fine.
Okay, man. That's what it is. I mean, we got the next hour to
Story
talk
for
about
you.
sports.
I
So
have a
like
story
that's
for you.
okay.
Well, a couple stories,
Mm.
but this one will be very interesting because I thought about you immediately.
Oh boy.
On Friday night, I happened to like a friend of mine happened to be in Vegas that the same exact time. I like shot a picture to a group text and he's like, "Yo, I'm in Vegas. Come meet up." I'm like, "What the fuck?" So we meet up and I'm there in Vegas for my wife's anniversary, me and my wife's anniversary. So like I'm supposed to be spending time with her. He's like, "Hey, my buddy's a DJ. You know, I can get us into this club for free. Like whatever. Like they have a DJ, whatever." I'm like, all right. Well, let me see what Emily wants to see. My wife. She's like, I'm not really feeling like the club scene. Like, you know, we're pretty tired at this point. It's like 11 o'clock on Friday. And I know it's only 11 o'clock, but, you know, if you're on the East Coast, it's like 2 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended by saying, you know, we're good. We're not going to go to the club. That's fine. He's like, all right, I'll tell my buddy like that we're not going to take his offer or whatever. So he sends the text. And then 20 minutes later, like I happen to be like, yo, so like, you know, I was like, I didn't feel like going to the club and just seeing some random ass DJ. And he's like, yeah, it's just some dude, Timmy Trumpet. I'm like, that's our guy.
Damn.
I was so pissed afterwards. I'm like, oh my God, dude, that's Mean D's guy.
I would have lost it if you sent me a video of that. Like I would have lost it.
Dude, that's our guy, man. So yeah, he was the DJ. He was DJing that club that night. And I was like,
and you fumbled the bag, man. Terrible.
bag.
Only in Vegas once.
Yeah. The last thing I want to say is the saddest place in Vegas is the infamous casinos, the slot machines at the airport. Have you heard of the slot machines at the airport?
No.
If you ever go to Las Vegas, as soon as you get off the plane, they have
Slots.
slot machines. Those are somewhat sad because if you've been spending all your money all weekend in Vegas and you happen to just need a slot machine when you're leaving, that's sad. But there's a special place in hell that has this section of slot machine. It's in a glass case, probably like 20 feet long by 5 feet wide, full of slot machines, and it's the smoking section.
Smokers row. Oh,
bro, it's just like small,
clouded.
Just a sea of smoke in there. People just have lost thousands of dollars chain smoking at the airport, just breathing in secondhand smoke. The most disgusting place on the earth.
Well, I mean, it won't be me. Won't be me. Tell you that one.
Las Vegas, baby. So, like as we said, we're gonna do a lot of NBA stuff. I'm gonna be honest, like it was kind of tough for me to watch all the games this week. I followed a lot of it. I actually really couldn't do like gambling on sports, so I didn't really follow it out there because you can't do the apps in Vegas, which kind of sucks. But I think the best way to approach this, it says NBA playoffs right now, but I think we want to start with talking about this.
Yes.
And if you're not watching live or on stream, it's NBA, the most vulnerable team. And we were thinking, okay, we have right now 4 series. Granted, if you're listening on podcast, there's going to be 2 games that have already played, the Celtics, 76ers, and the Nuggets and Suns. Is the Nuggets Suns tonight?
Yes. Game 2 of 10.
So we're going to forget like that ever happened. These games happen. We're going to take a perspective of this morning. We have 2 teams that are up 3-1, right? The Lakers are up on the Warriors, and the Heat are up on the Knicks. 2 series tied 2-2. Celtics, 76ers, Suns, Nuggets. And of the teams with the advantageous position, so a team that's up 3-1, so Lakers, Heat, or a team that's 2-2 but have 2 more home games, so it's kind of like a nice advantage.
Mm-hmm.
So the Celtics and the Nuggets. I was curious, like in your opinion, D, what is the most vulnerable of those teams to potentially lose the series? And I was shocked when I heard your answer.
Yes. So off air, obviously we kind of hinted it, but I didn't want to give away like all of the details for it. I think the team that is still most vulnerable for losing the series is the Lakers. Being a Laker fan, obviously, like you see and you watch, and I think they're playing incredibly well. I also don't think that they've gotten Golden State's best yet. and you can't underestimate, I would say, the heart of a champion. But they're the champs until they ain't the champs no more, as Shaq once said in the past. And you have to keep your foot on their neck. I've heard, some talking heads today, which is, it has me nervous about it, that LA may look to sit people or not play as much.
That's stupid, man. They ain't gonna
Yes,
do that.
I know that. I'm just saying people that are close with the team that are able to say these types of things. It's just a little unnerving because it's like you can't do that. You got to take this as if you're down 3-1. So I don't want them to take their foot off the gas. And if they do and they allow them to, we've seen Golden State come back from 3-1 in the Western Conference Finals before against Houston. So this is a big game for them at home to close out the series.
I have a question. So who actually said
Sorry,
that? What talking head? Was it like Stephen A. Smith or some shit?
No, it was on First Take, but it wasn't Legs. It was another guy that was a part of the LA LA Times, something like that. Some dude that reports on. He's like, hey, reports out there just saying that we might, see some guys just not be full force in game 6 or game 5. Like we might see them, take a little bit of a step back so that they can be healthy to close it out on game 6.
I'd be surprised if that was the philosophy, especially because
they're up.
It seemed like LeBron has been going for kill shots in these playoffs so far. They wanted to put out the Memphis Grizzlies early on. And I don't think, knowing LeBron's history with Steph, that he would kind of take his foot off the gas and let the team do that. I will say this though, and you kind of saw this in the Memphis series with LeBron and AD. When they start trailing by 7, not 7, but 13, 15 points in the early fourth quarter, you kind of see LeBron throwing the white flag as
throttle down.
Yeah, he's trying to conserve some energy for the next game. Be like, this probably ain't going to happen. Maybe that's the scenario. If they find themselves down, with the Warriors going a 15-3 run, just Clay goes nuclear or something in the late third, early fourth, maybe they throw in the white towel. But I don't think they would actually purposely sit guys for the whole game. I'm surprised you picked the Lakers. For me, I know this is not a hot take. I probably feel the third most confidence in the Lakers out of all the other teams, because obviously you're up 3-1.
Meaning the second best chance to close out. Is that what you're saying? If I'm flipping that?
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to say this, the Heat absolutely have the best chance of closing out. Mm-hmm. I mean, who knows with these playoffs? I still don't think the Heat are any good. If they win the championship this year, I'll still be like, they suck. Dead ass. But
at least you're consistent. I'll give you that.
I mean, I watched 82 games and I saw how bad the Heat were all season, and they've turned into a juggernaut in the playoffs. It's insane. But like I said, they're up 3-1. I actually feel the least confident in the Nuggets, right? I still feel decent about that, but listen, I know it took a nuclear effort from KD and Booker to even this up at 2-2, but it feels like the Suns have found something, right? After they went down 0-2, they decide, we're going to just play shooters. If we're going to go down, we're going to go down swinging. Mm-hmm. And they purposely put guys like Terrence Ross out on the floor, Landry Shamet, and just, went straight for shooting. And I think they may have found something here. And, when Chris Paul went out, they kind of, everyone thought the Suns were dead in the water. But they're low-key kind of better without Chris Paul, because he is a bit of a liability on the defensive side because of his height. And, the Nuggets coming into the playoffs, yeah, they took care of business in the first round versus the Timberwolves, to nobody's surprise. We were all kind of surprised when they went up 2-0, but before the playoffs, dude, this team was bad. I don't know if you remember the last month of the season where they were just kind of sleepwalking and losing to the Rockets and bad teams. I'm not totally convinced the Nuggets are fixed. And if the Suns are willing to keep making changes and adapting, I'm not, they got KD, man. I'm not convinced they're dead. I think they have a legitimate shot at taking down the Nuggets.
Yeah, I think that combo is really hot right now. And teams that we're seeing again in Miami right now, a player that's consistently staying hot in Jimmy Butler. You have one of the world's greatest players in the history of the game, top 75 player of all time, and Kevin Durant, who's playing like second fiddle to a guy that's getting comped up there to, Michael Jordan. Not saying that he's Michael Jordan, but like the things that he's doing haven't been done since Michael Jordan. And he's like 35, 7, and 6. Booker was a point guard, and a lot of people forget about this. Booker was a de facto point guard at Kentucky, and he transitioned more into the two guard like swing player when he got to the NBA because his playmaking was just like it was good enough to get you by, but he wasn't like a Chris Paul point guard. So he still has that ability, and we're seeing that where he's bringing the ball up, he's running the offense, and if he's like, you know what, I'm gonna get a bucket, everybody just gets out of his way and he does it. Like he had some like ridiculous number of the first player in like 30 years to drop 35 points off of 70% shooting. Like that's video game numbers, and he's showing that he's one of the top two guards in the NBA because of it.
There was a shot I remember watching the game 4 between the Nuggets and Suns, and the ball gets kicked out to Booker, and there were legitimately two dudes there to double team him, and he's just like, screw it, I'm gonna take the shot. And they played defense. It wasn't that they were just there. Like they had the hands up and he drained it. He's playing at like this ungodly level. Outside of playoff Jimmy, Devin Booker has been the best player in these playoffs.
His bubble. It's the same way that he played when they were in the bubble, and like he was unbelievable. Granted, they ran into the Lakers to get knocked off, but like he was doing this in the bubble. We saw him and the likes of the guard for the Nuggets, the kid that just came off of an injury. Yeah, we saw them like turn the leaf into being a all-star player into an all NBA player. And Devin Booker has shown, he's putting the team on his back while having Kevin Durant on his team, which is crazy.
Yeah, like I was kind of talking myself out of the Suns having a chance to upset the Nuggets as I was going through my point, because the only thing I would say to counter this, and I'm going to counter my own point, is that it did take an extraordinary effort from Booker and it took an extraordinary effort from KD to just win the game. Whereas when Denver was at home, they just kind of rolled over the Suns, right? Mm-hmm. So can the Suns reproduce what they did in game 3 and 4? Absolutely. But they need to be like a plus game every night to have a chance. Whereas the Nuggets won 2 games pretty easily in this series. And I feel the same way about the Celtics. I know this is like a transition, but like I feel the same way about the Celtics 76ers, where I think the Celtics are by far the probably the best team left in the playoffs. Like as far as their talent wise, they just shoot themselves in the foot. But like just before we get to that point, and I'll let you, I know you want to jump on that. The 76ers won 2 games so far. And granted, they're playing right now. So by the time you listen to podcast, they might have won 3 or the Celtics might have won 3, whatever. The games that the 76ers won, they squeaked by. And they had to have crazy efforts from James Harden. And the game 4, Joel Embiid had a pretty good game. I think he had like 27 or something like that. But they had to have an extraordinary effort to just squeeze out 2 wins, where the Celtics, when they did win, it was pretty easy. I think one was by like 20 something, and the other one was 10. The Celtics should win. Like they are by far the better team in the series. They've put up more points comparatively, but they just can't close out, man, and execute.
I think, and we could roll into the Eastern Conference matchups if you want to just keep talking about it. I think it was put together earlier today as in we keep saying the Celtics are a better team. The Celtics are a better team. They're better than what they're playing like. But they really haven't been for the past like month. And I know I talked about it off air when I was talking about the Hawks series. And that kind of showed a little bit of a flaw that they might have. And a lot of their regular season matchups that also showed where if and when they were to hit adversity, Mazzulla is not the guy that's going to help coach them out of it. And blowing leads against teams that they shouldn't be blowing leads on. Having a series go 5 or 6 against Atlanta, you know what I mean? Like, other than Trey Young, they literally had no one. Like DeJounte Murray was a shell of himself, and it was just Trey Young, and that series got stretched to 6. And they're doing it's carrying over into this series where Joel Embiid was hurt. He was literally gone for a game, not even just like injured. He was out, and they lost. They let James Harden, like vintage James Harden for Houston, a la 2015, come back out. And like they're doing the same thing in game 5 right now. And it's like they are inept when it comes to playing defense at the right time, even though they have one of the better defensive teams in the NBA, and they play down to the level of their competition way too much.
Well, I'm glad you bring up the defensive thing, because I will say, like, Al Horford's done a phenomenal job on Embiid. I think in game
hobbled Embiid. Just keep that in mind. Too.
Yeah, but like, just gotta give props where props are due. Like in game 4, I think he had three blocks in the fourth quarter on Embiid. He was eating his lunch. But the one thing I am curious about is that you say that they are one of the better defensive teams, and if you look back to last year, the guy everyone was talking about, and the guy who we thought if he was healthy in the playoffs last year, they could have won the championship, Robert Williams, right? He is one of the better defenders in the NBA. I know he didn't make an all defensive team this year. I did some math from the previous 4 games. I think he averaged about 20 points a game, so less than half the minutes. And then I'm looking at the box score right now.
Did you say 20 points a game or 20 minutes a game?
My apologies. Thanks.
I was like, he's scoring 20 from Rob?
Celtics would love that. No, he was averaging about 20 minutes a game. And then if you look right now, it's a halftime, and he has 9 minutes. So, the minutes with Rob are super, super low. I'm guessing they're not keeping him out just because they don't like Rob. I think there's a matchup issue, and the 76ers are kind of exploiting that. I don't think they want Rob on Embiid, just size-wise. And then if you play Al and Rob, you're at a pretty big disadvantage.
Very slow.
Shooters. Yeah, and that's what they did. They put shooters out around Embiid and kind of played Rob off the floor. So that, shout out to Sadak. He's kind of neutralized that, but, not having Rob has been a huge detriment to the Celtics defensively, at least.
Yeah, and I mean, I know we talked about it a very long time ago, and I've got some chats, from some New England sports fans that are saying that like he's the difference maker, and I said the same point. I was like, as much as he might be, a defensive stopper, you can't just plop him into any lineup and just be like, oh, he's just gonna stop everyone, because you're gonna come across bigs that can shoot, a la John Collins when they were at Atlanta. He can stretch the floor.
Right.
Joel Embiid, now in Philly, he can stretch the floor. They win this series. Do I think Bam can stretch? No. So that is a good matchup that helps the Celtics. Or, if the Knicks come back, I don't think Mitchell Robinson is stretching the floor either. But like in the matchups that they've been given, he's not a just plug and play type of player, because the coaches will see that, the opposing coaches will see that. Like, why don't we just get him out of the paint because we have a big that can shoot? Right. And now, like you were saying, like they have to make a decision. Do you put Rob and Al on the court at the same time? You can't do that, because that limits not only just your defense, but that limits your offense significantly.
I think that sucks is like this Celtics team this year, the way they've played, they're far less competent compared to last year. They were much better. Maybe I don't want to say talent-wise, because it's essentially the same roster, but just like the competency. What's that? Why give me the win?
Why is that? Why?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously Udoka. He had them in line. This team reminds me a lot of the teams that were coached by Brad Stevens, where they just couldn't get over the hump.
Hold on.
Together.
I wish we had the hot take sounder for that, because oh my goodness. I need you to repeat that statement, because if I would have said that, it would have come off as hate being a Lakers fan, but I need you to say that one more time.
I mean, I don't think it's a hot take at all. This team is playing a lot like it was under Brad Stevens with Mazzulla, whatever.
Oh, I mean, I'm in agreement. That's what I'm saying. I think we're in agreement that we like Mazzulla, and he was kind of the hand-appointed or hand-picked head coach after the whole Udoka thing went down. But that's a stinger for Celtics fans to hear.
to be fair to Mazzulla too, this is his first time as a head coach, and there have been some issues as far as calling timeouts, especially in Game 4, and kind of being unwilling to make some changes in game. So like, with time you get better at those things, but still, like, you have a team that's win now,
Yes.
right? And you want, like, I know Boston fans, and I'm a Magic fan, so like I'm not lumping myself into this. When you're in this position right now, you're like, we have young Tatum, young Jaylen Brown. We could do this like for another 5, 10, like 5, 7, 8 years. Look at the Warriors; they had a big window. Man, as soon as you have to pay Jaylen Brown that super duper max after he gets all NBA this year, and you have Jason Tatum making super max money, there's not a lot of money to go around. So you're gonna lose talent. This might be the best roster they'll ever have with this core. Like, this might be the best roster they will have, period, going forward.
I don't want to say that like that window is closing, but if it has some springs, it's starting to lose its value of the spring holding up. We all have those old ass windows. I mean, I got new ass windows, but a lot of people in New England got some old ass windows, and like that's all I've been trying to say is like you hit it on the nose. The Celtics are win now. This is going on year 6. Is this year 5 or 6 with Tatum and Brown?
I would probably say like as those two guys as the alpha dogs
4.
together, probably 3. Because I want to get rid of the Kyrie stuff. And,
they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals without Kyrie. They pushed LeBron to Game 7 again without Kyrie.
Without Kyrie, yeah. I mean, you had some other contributors with Hayward, and he was hurt too. Actually, that series, that was the ankle year. That's fair. So yes,
what I'm saying is it's going on 4 or 5 seasons.
Right.
How many other? And this may come off as Laker, purple teamer and green haters, but how many other people in the league do you give a window of 5, 6 years and say, no, we'll just keep going? There's nobody in the league that like it's just Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I get that, but somebody's gonna, like you said, somebody's gonna want their money, and it's going to change the whole team. They have to execute and capitalize now.
Right. And I'm not saying like if they don't win this year, they'll never win again. They could absolutely win next year. That's not a thing. But what I'm saying is this year, you probably have the best chance this year of all the years, because you're just going to start losing players, and the roster is not going to be as good in the future as you have it right now. Like that's just a fact.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I'm in agreement with you.
Guys like Al Horford are getting older every year.
Can't rely on Rob Williams. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, and then you got lucky with getting Brogdon and Derek White. I don't know this contract situation with those guys, but those guys are very quality players, and at some point you're going to have to pay both of them as well, and you're not going to be able to afford it. So I don't know how we got so sidetracked, but like I would be panicking if I were a Celtics fan, because not only do you have this is the best roster you'll ever get, but this is the most open it's been for you to win, with the Bucks losing in the first round and the Western Conference being kind of like, I don't know who's going to come out.
Mm-hmm. The Bucks got taken out. The Cavs got taken out. All of these teams that like they may potentially. I mean, we don't want to go down the rabbit hole of the whole Giannis thing, but like those teams, they're going to come back stronger. And if you are losing talent as those teams are getting talent, the playing field becomes a little bit more level. I think if you segue this into the team that they would have to come against, if they win this series, it's Miami, and this is a thorn in the Celtics side that they're gonna have to deal with if they win and come back in, because they're down right now. So they come back in the series and win, they got to worry about the Heat. And like I don't want to spread too much time on the Heat Knicks series, because I think that one is done.
Yeah, we'll circle back. Let's take a quick break and do the Frizz's 5.
Got you.
All right, so this week is kind of inspired by my travelings. D, let the people know where we're gonna rank this week.
You want to give her the sounder first before we go off?
Sure. I was gonna let you give it a little taste and throw it in, but I'll
let it do it.
Prepare yourselves for the greatest and most unique segment in podcast history. Let's rank some stuff with D. It's time for Frizz's 5.
Now that you're are you sufficiently ready?
Yeah, I like my intro, man. Damn, let me be happy to get my intro. We haven't done it a lot in the last couple months, so I like to get introduced. Again, I normally we're going yelling and getting all hyped up, but in the events of Trudeau having a nice little vacation last week, where my ass was stuck at home, didn't really go anywhere. We're gonna talk about top 5 places that we've visited, and for y'all that are in the chat, y'all that are listening, please feel free to reach out, throw your suggestion or just throw your destinations in the chat, and then hit us up obviously on Facebook tomorrow when you guys are able to listen to this so we can see where y'all been too.
All right, do you get us started? Go 5-1. I'm actually creating my list as we as we go through this.
This is terrible. You brought this up and you ain't even got yours ready.
There is so much going on behind the scenes. It's not even funny.
Completely understandable. For me, number 5, I don't really go too many places, but I think this place was incredible. It was beautiful scenery wise. It's where I became an actual snowboarder. I'm going Jay Peak, Vermont.
I do like Jay Peak. It's a good ski mountain close to the Canada border, northern Vermont. Good food. Obviously, you have some of the French influence.
Poutine fries, bro.
Great skiing, and they have a water park too, which is kind of fun.
I think that in it as a whole, and the big shout outs to Snow Riders. I know we don't got a sponsorship with them, but that was the group that would help hook us all up for some snowboarding for 3 days. But yeah, man, JP Vermont, at least that resort itself was just dope. You know, I'm not about all of like scenery and whatnot, but it was pretty cool being at the top of one of the mountains, and like you look over and it's just Canada, right? Like you're literally just staring at another fucking country while you're sitting on on top of a mountain. The mountain was cool. Snowboarding was fun. The atmosphere was dope. And again, I think the water park solidified it. Being able to jump into a big ass pool, water park, play some basketball while after snowboarding all day was actually pretty dope.
I like it. Number 4, somewhere warm, please.
Not warm, man, but I loved being out there, and I'm gonna go with Nashville, Tennessee.
I've never been, but I heard it's a good time.
It is. It's a fun time. Was out there twice, both of them for work, but they were both really like relaxed work. I would say trips. It was cool seeing Nissan Stadium. I don't know if it's been renamed since I've been there, but the stadium was really cool. Just being on the strip in Nashville and being able to hit literally every bar that they offer. I'm not a live band or live music fan, but every place was live music, so you had to be a fan of it. There was no DJs. Like one of the places was like the Greatest Bar, where it had like 4 different floors, but it had different music live band wise on each floor. It was actually really dope. The barbecue was incredible. Again, the scenery around town and city was dope. So I would definitely put that as a top place that I visited.
I dig it. Number 3.
This is where it gets a little bit better, baby. I know I hinted it when we were talking about yours, but it's South Beach, Florida, man. We were down there for a week, and I had so much fun. Me and the missus, her sister, and her sister's husband. It was dope, man. Like we went down there for Memorial Day weekend, and it was hip hop week. Talk about like anything that you wanted when it comes to the food that was down there, the bars. You said it was a tourist trap when you were in Vegas. Go to South Beach and it's the same. Obviously, the water was incredible. Every place that we went to had incredible music. I'm pretty sure there was some famous people that were down there. We didn't really fuck around with that shit like Rick Ross and whatnot. But like all the shows that we were able to see, I had a tremendous amount of crab legs when I was down there. So I absolutely loved it. But I would definitely recommend for y'all to get down to South Beach, Miami, Florida.
Did you get some of that Cuban food, man? That's what I want to get into when I get
I'm
down.
pretty sure the amount of food that I ate and the amount of alcohol I drank reminded me of going back to college. So like it's a blur. I remember the sober moments. I don't remember too much else, unfortunately.
It's all good. All right, what are we at? 2?
Number 2 already, and we're gonna go way down south, like as south as we possibly can. I'm going Cancun, Mexico. Cancun was dope, work related, but I was able to go down there again. Go ahead.
No, I think I saw like a Snapchat of like you were like they had like free concerts for you down there, some shit.
Work related, yeah. So shout out to Power Home Remodeling, again, a previous employer, no longer there. But every year they bring us down to Cancun, and it was like the Christmas party. But I was able to go down there with the missus, work related. But like they usually throw a like concert. And the year that we went there, it was the 90s/2000s throwback. It was Nelly, it was Ti, it was Ja Rule, Ashanti. Talk about nostalgic. Like it was dope. And not only that, but like all you can eat, all you can drink, all inclusive resort, pools, beaches. It was just a fun time.
Two questions. One, did
Mhm.
you get sick from being there? Because like I know you're not supposed to like drink the water down like when you're in
Bottled water only. So
Okay.
no, I did not get sick. I think Al might have, but that's from drinking the alcohol. It's
Yeah,
got ice in it.
yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah,
like
yeah. So you just did bottles like a little Corona.
so no, I mean I still drank my drink. But like you just if you were washing it down or like trying to rehydrate, it just had to be bottled water.
And then number two, have you ever done a cruise? I'm just curious.
No, I'm like nervous to think about one of those because I know how like nasty them motherfuckers can be. But like I know how dope they also can be at the same time.
Yeah, I've never considered a cruise, but like now that I'm getting older with a child, like it kind of sounds nice to just lie down on a deck and like have a margarita and have a buffet like that.
Hmm.
All right, so we went through four. We're on number one. Let me give you the drum roll.
Number one place because it was an incredible week right after the wedding. It's Punta Cana.
So you got two out of your top. Your top two are Mexico, right?
Dominican, you were close.
Oh,
But no, yeah, Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic was just absolutely incredible. Went twice. One was with friends, and I was able to go down there, spend a week. Second time was honeymoon, and that was just an incredible time. Both all inclusive. The food that's out there, granted, it's resort food, but it was still incredible to eat the steak, the hibachi, all that they had. The drinks were very strong. They do not do light when it comes to drinks. So anything that you order is incredible. The pool, the beach, just being pampered essentially like you were a king and queen. That's something that I will say is the best place that I've ever been, was definitely Punta Cana, Dominican.
so you have your number one is Punta Cana, Dominican. It sounds like you kind of just chilled and like are pampered. You one of those people who, when you vacation or holiday, whatever you want to say, I don't know what people in England they call it holiday, or in Australia. Do you like that holiday? Anywho, off topic, but do you like to just kind of relax? You and more of an exploring, adventurous type.
Relax. I'm not for the what are they called, excursions? Nah, man,
Yeah,
miss me with that. I don't want to go see the island because that's when you get you look at too much, and then all of a sudden you got a pillowcase over your head and you ain't ever going home. So
you
nope.
are going home, but you're going to be missing a kidney.
Yeah, so keep me at the resort. I don't need to go explore nothing about the island. I just want to see a drink in my hand and a steak on my plate. Like I'm good.
You're going to go missing. And Al's going to have to call your phone and be like, "I will find you."
Yeah.
I will keep you."
I have a really good set of tools.
Yeah. Good list, solid list. All right, I'm gonna go through mine really quick. I was debating where to go with number five. It's kind of a tie. Outside looking in Charleston, South Carolina, really nice city, cool city. I actually put
Going
Las.
there this year.
Really, you'll like
Yeah.
it. They got really, really good food and stuff. Number five, I actually just went Las Vegas, just because. I mean, listen, I know I said it was expensive and it's a cesspool, but I kind of like that cesspool. There's nothing better than being with a bunch of degenerates, smoking a big fat cigar at a roulette table and blowing $200.
All right, I'm done. Good to see you.
Speaking of that, I was playing roulette at like 2 in the morning on Friday, and I'm smoking my cigar. And some guy from Arkansas walks up, drops $1,000 chip on black. $1,000. He hits that motherfucker. I'm like, holy shit.
It's $2,000, just like that.
And guess what that dude does?
Puts it back on there.
Puts it back on black.
And it's red.
And it's red. And he's just like, all right. And he walks.
Whatever. Money.
Are you
Dog,
serious?
People like that got money to blow. Either that or they're just so low in life they don't care.
so low in life, man. But I will say this. I wanted to just really touch on one thing I forgot earlier about Las Vegas. So when we were there, We went to a buffet because you were talking about the food and stuff on the we're talking about cruise ships. It's the number one rated buffet in the world. It is $90 a person to get into the buffet for dinner, so it's expensive. But this motherfucker has king crab legs and
I've heard of this. Yes.
Oh my god!
This is why we want to go, because of that buffet itself.
Yes, we went to that buffet. It's a Caesar's Palace, and it is by the way, Caesar's Palace Casino is a palace, man.
Real Caesar used to live there.
Yes, it's a massive. But yeah, dude, the buffet. Oh, the buffets they're insane. Also pricey, but you got to try. All right, number 4, the city that never sleeps, New York City. I know it's not that exciting being someone that lives in Boston, but it's just an awesome city.
Fair enough. I've only been once. I wish I went there when I was a little bit older. I went when I was 18, so I really couldn't do anything.
Enough to do, man. Number 3, people will be surprised, but I love the city. It's fantastic. In the state of Texas, Austin. Weird city. They just everything about them, they want to be unique and different, and they have the best barbecue food, man. I'm telling you, you will have a heart attack from how good and fatty that food is. All right, last 2 going foreign as well. Number 2, Paris, France. Kind of feels like New York City when you're there, just because it feels more like an American city. But it's big, it's bumping, dude. Europeans know how to they don't. I don't want to say they know how to party, but they just don't ever like go
chill.
Like there's like everyone just like out having a meal at 9 o'clock at night, drinking on a patio, like and walking around. It's just there's just not like, hey, this is time to relax. It's just like, nah, we're just gonna be up all night. That's just what we do.
I like it.
Paris, and then number 1, Rome, Italy. Again, same vibe, but it's just like so much rich history there as well, and lots of fun. That's what I was saying, like with the traveling vacation, because when we went on our honeymoon, we did Italy and France, and it was more of like we're seeing all the sites. We're going to like the Colosseum, the Vatican Museum, we're going to the Louvre, we're going like to everything. So it's like completely opposite.
Good stuff. Right on. Haven't been across the pond. I know that that's a bucket list thing, but I like the list, man. Again, I like that you went outside of the U.S. for the top 2. Because if you'd have said like Philadelphia or some shit, I've been like, come on, bro. Like, what are we doing here?
Philadelphia is on my top 5 places never to go back again. All right, let's touch on the Western Conference matchups. I know we talked a little bit as far as like confidence in different teams. I was surprised just you were not as confident in the Lakers as I would have been. You know, for me, the biggest issue with the Lakers versus the Warriors is that Kevon Looney was an absolute monster in that first series, and he made Sabonis look like an average player. You know, he in All NBA this year. And I don't know what Looney's deal is. I have a feeling it's going to be one of those things where after the playoffs, we're like, oh, Kevon Looney had a broken leg. Like, you know what I mean? We'll find out later, because I think it was after game 1. Was it game 2 or 3? Basically, Steve Kerr's like, oh, he's under the weather. He's not going to start today. And
Game 2.
Okay, it was game 2. And we're like, that's odd. He's sick.
Came out of nowhere.
Right. And he's been sick like the past 2 games. He's been coming off the bench playing limited minutes every game now. And we talked before the series started that Kevon Looney, his defense and rebounding would be a huge factor in the series, because obviously everything's going to run through Anthony Davis if the Lakers are going to be successful. And him not being there, man, like I have huge concerns for the Warriors, because like they don't really have a great answer for Anthony Davis right now. They've tried different things. They've tried fronting him with different players. They've tried Draymond on him, but even then, he can just turn around and take a jump shot on Draymond. The size advantage is huge. So I get it. They're the defending champs. They could have some crazy shooting games where Steph puts up 40 points. But I just can't see that happening 3 times in a row with this incarnation of the Lakers. And not to mention, man, like, I know I gave you shit like months ago about the Lakers and the trade.
Everybody did. That's okay.
Since that trade, they legit had the best defense in the regular season, and they have the best statistical defense in the playoffs right now. So like,
go ahead.
It's going well for them. It's not a fluke.
So I try to say it as like, if they get the offense to balance with their defense, they'll be okay. And those pickups, Beasley, D'Lo, Vanderbilt, Bamba, and
Hamba doesn't play, man. Get out of here.
no, I'm saying at the time, right? They still had to finish off the regular season. Rui Hachimura, like they picked up some decent role players, and those go ahead.
No, I was just like, you know like if the Celtics are doing well or not. I have a group chat that I keep on mute.
Oh, 55. Oh yeah, people are pissed. People are pissed, bro.
When you see 55 texts in the group chat since like 8:00, you know the Celtics are playing poorly.
Yes, 100%. My phone is very quiet because they know that I'm the Lakers fan.
Yeah.
I can't say if they say shit, they know I'm gonna say something back. But yeah, I think to credit back to at least get back to. No, you're good. Just get back to the whole defensive thing. We talked about it. We had that cool little spreadsheet where we showed the Lakers were one of the worst offensive efficiency teams in the NBA, but they were like one of the top defensive efficiency teams in the NBA. And I said, it's like, just get to like the middle of the pack. Get to the middle of the pack or like top 15, top 10. And that's you're going to have a top 2 defense and a really good offense. And that's where they're at now. And they're able to have a 38-year-old LeBron James not have to put up 30, 10, and 9 to get a win, because you can get, since Looney's not there, we finally saw Kevin Durant. We finally have seen Anthony Davis have back-to-back good games. Right. Game 1, it was there. Game 2, it wasn't. Game 3 and 4, it has been. Game 1 was against Looney, and he showed up. Game 2, Looney played 10 minutes, and AD was a shell. Games 3 and 4, with Looney coming off the bench, AD's like, you know what? I have to be the guy to get 25 and 10, and he's doing it.
Yeah, the one thing that still scares me with the Lakers is that we know AD has had a history of being hurt, and I'm like,
dog. I don't want to cut you off.
I know,
but just think of it this way: every time I'm watching the game, I get up and go to the bathroom, go grab a water out of the refrigerator, stretch my back, do one of these.
Look down,
and I look down, and he's on the ground holding something. I'm like, dog, what the hell? Like, can you just not? Like, just every time I look away and come back to look at the screen, this man is on the ground holding something or getting up and holding his back. And I'm like, yo, just stay healthy, please.
I heard Bomani Jones talking about that and being like, maybe AD's just a dude who just like hurting hurts a little more for AD. Like he's not physically injured, but like when he lands, he's just like, ooh, that hurts. I don't know if I want to do this. Oh, and he's like, all right, I'm good. He shakes it off. He gets back. Because like every time he falls, he's grabbing something. It scares the shit out of everyone. But like on a serious note, like his history, and we know the playoffs last, I don't know, like a little over a month, right? Like he could stay healthy the whole time and just roll through this. But good God, man, like if you're a Lakers fan, that's like the biggest worry is like something happens because he has that history. But I have to ask you this. Mm-hmm. Rob Pelinka, the GM of the Lakers, after seeing what the Lakers have done after the trade, does he deserve GM of the year or worst GM of the year? Because hear me out. Clearly, whatever the hell he had rolling out in the first half of the season was just terrible. So that's on him for building that roster out. But then he also fixed it all and made a very balanced roster afterwards. So like, does he deserve praise for making the adjustments, or does he deserve criticism for clearly putting out a product that was trash and led to the 13 seed for however many weeks they had the 13 seed?
I think it's a split between Pelinka and Lee GM, as in LeBron James. LeBron put that team together, man. LeBron wanted Russell. He wanted his players. He didn't want to pay Schroeder. Like LeBron helped put this team together at the beginning of the season. And then in retrospect of 2016 or 2015 Cavs, when it was like LeBron, D Wade, D Rose, there was another veteran that was like off the bench, and like they were a terrible team in the regular season.
Everybody.
Yeah, and they were like, this isn't working. Like we need to get rid of these players. And the GM did, and then they rolled into the finals. This is a very similar situation. Granted, with the Russell thing, it was last year too. So like it just rolled into another year. But essentially, like they got it fixed. I'm not going to give them GM of the year because again, they start off so bad. I understand the trade deadline is what fixed the team, but
Right.
you can't give it to somebody that's like saying coach of the year goes to somebody that started off, 20 and 50, but then they finished, 50 and 55. Like, no, bro, you still lost 50 games to start
Right,
the season.
yeah.
Like, come on.
You know the NBA is licking their lips because you don't want to know it.
Oh my God. Here we go. I'm gonna sit back.
I'm not actually starting the truth teller segment,
Okay.
but you know that they are looking at the Celtics on the eastern side and they're looking at the Lakers on the west, and you're like, oh, please God, let this happen, because the ratings would be insane. Celtics Lakers finals.
They would, but Philly has something to say about it. And
I
like
know. They're up right now, but I'm just saying, if the Celtics Lakers were to make the finals, watch, they're going to see some calls going in the favor of the Celtics, though.
why? So they can get Banner 18 first?
The fix is in to get Celtics Lakers. That's all I'm saying.
Of course.
No, but on a serious note, speaking on the Lakers, before the postseason started, there was a lot of buzz about, all right, what's going to happen with Kyrie? What's the future of Kyrie? And everyone has their theories that Kyrie's going to try to find his way in the Lakers. But I'm going to ask you this: like, after all we've seen from D'Lo, D'Lo's not the perfect player. He's super streaky, but he does provide that 3-point shooting that the Lakers so desperately need. Having them almost one game for being in the Western Conference Finals, do the Lakers re-sign D'Lo and go stick with him long term? Like, is this core right now what you want, or do you still fiddle and try to get that Kyrie or try to get another player?
It depends on what they lose to get Kyrie, because that money's got to be allocated somewhere. And it's not just the D'Lo for Kyrie swap, and you keep Rui, you keep Austin, you keep Beasley, you keep Vanderbilt, I keep saying Bamba, but you know what I mean by that.
Yeah,
You keep those players. If you do, along with like Alani Walker, who showed up off the bench, obviously, but if you keep those players and it is legit just a 1-for-1 swap, then yeah, you pick up the more talented player. If you're losing two or three of those players to get a Kyrie, it doesn't matter who it doesn't matter if you got three great players, AD, LeBron, and Kyrie. You need somebody off of the bench. And I mean, KD and Booker are kind of proving me wrong with that, but they're also a lot younger. They're not injury prone. See what I'm saying? They're not missing time that Kyrie 50% of the season has the last 4 years. AD, 25 to 30% his whole career. LeBron James going on 39, 40 years old. So like, if it's a 1-for-1 swap, I like the Kyrie deal. If it's get Kyrie to lose 2 to 3, no,
you'd
I
have
don't want
to
him.
probably send maybe that other first round pick that they have, or they'd have to probably send something, because D'Lo, Kyrie straight up.
It's not a trade. Kyrie's a free agent.
Well, you'd have to sign and trade him. Like you can't sign him straight up. Like you don't have to cap him.
I got you. Yep.
There would have to be a sign and trade, and I think the Dallas Mavericks would want something from the Lakers in that situation. Even if it was like Austin Reeves, like they'd want
no.
You know what I mean?
And I know people were joking about that because that was the thing at the earlier of the season. Like,
He's
you won't
nice,
trade
man.
Kyrie Irving for Austin Reeves. It's like,
he's nice.
Yeah, he's good. He's serviceable. He 12 and 3 threes is what we said. 12 and 3 threes is a lock every goddamn game.
Hey man, 1 3 and 12 points. He's got you. Maybe a couple assists as well.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe the Celtics are gonna lose this fucking game. Dude. This is insane.
I know it's hard to keep track of what we're doing when we see this going on right now.
I'm so distracted by the score of the Celtics game. I can't believe this is happening. Although they might pull this off. Probably not though at this point. Heat Knicks. Like, I don't know how much you want to talk on Heat Knicks. The Knicks
Heat Knicks are definitely the East, but you can do that if you want.
I'm sorry. We Suns. Dude, I told you.
This is how distracted you are.
The Celtics are distracting me. Their awfulness is distracting me right now. Suns Nuggets. I think I touched on a little earlier. Like, I told you my opinion. It's crazy, man, because Jokic put up 50+ points, had one of the greatest games I've ever seen him put up, and they still lost. I don't know what's going to happen with this series. If I had a gun to my head, I would take the Nuggets just because they have home court in 2 of the games, but like I don't feel confident. I think it's like 52%, 48%. Like that's how flip flop I feel about that.
I can't agree with you. I'm sorry. I
Do you
gotta
feel confident one way?
Yeah, not even just confident, but like I'm giving the edge to the Suns because what you just said. You got
Well,
a 50
series
point
hasn't started
performance.
yet.
What's that?
The series hasn't even started
Because
yet.
the home team hasn't lost.
You
I
lost it.
hate that. We already talked about how
It's
much I hate
so
that.
true, though. It's so true. It is a thing. It's important to get that road win.
Sure, but in Game 7, if the away team wins, is the series over? Is the series just now getting started?
And over at the same
Whatever. Yeah. So miss me
simultaneous.
with that.
So
What I see is a 50-point performance, game 4, 50 from Jokic, I think just under 30 from Jamal Murray, and like then you have KD and Booker on the other end doing 36 apiece. So it's like, who's more likely to do that? Is it Jokic getting 50 or is it KD and Booker getting 30 plus? I think KD and Booker getting 30 plus, which means it's going to be a lot. For me, I think it's going to be a lot harder to replicate what Jokic is doing if nobody else is showing up compared to the
games that the Suns won, though. They had decent bench contributions. I think they had something like 28 points off the bench or 30 last game in Game 4. We all know Shamit. We all know the saying that the bench plays better at home. And I think that regardless of what team you're looking at, they both have very strong starting lineups, but their benches for both teams have been kind of their Achilles heel.
Yes.
In just knowing that the benches usually play better at home and Nuggets have 2 home games, it makes me feel a little more confident in their ability to just like, even if the bench for the Nuggets every time they're out there goes +2, right, in their shifts, that's an extra 8-point cushion that the starters of the Nuggets have. So like that's why I'm thinking leaning Nuggets still, but I could easily see like what you're saying with the Suns winning. What do you feel about what happened the other night? Did you see what happened with the the Suns owner?
Yeah,
And,
nothing. I don't feel anything. I think we've gotten to the point where even the fans are flopping with shit. And I know that it was the Denver Nuggets owner and whatnot, but like Jokic was just like, get off me, like a gnat at a barbecue was like, yo, you're leaning on me, you're breathing on me, back up. And like that man was like, oh, and then like you hear you see the crowd reacted to that, like, yo, throw him out. And it's just like, man, don't grab the ball. I don't care if you're the owner.
Heady play.
That was what?
A heady play.
What, from the owner?
Yeah, he prevented the fast break, and he also got a point for the team.
Don't fucking grab the ball if you're a fan. I don't care if you're the owner of the team. Like you're subject to somebody being like, give me the fucking ball. And that's exactly what happened. And then like he went to grab the ball, and then he tried to be like, no. Like he was a player, and that's when Jokic was like, "All right, man. Like I'm from Serbia. Like I can get my brothers to take care of you if I have to."
That was so scary.
Yeah,
that dude. Though that family does not play around. Do you have any last? I don't have anything else on the Nuggets Suns. Do you have anything else in that before we move on?
No, I think again, it's I think the winner of Game 5 tonight is going to take the series. I think it's that strong of a series right now. Whoever is going to either bounce back, being Denver, or just continuously show their dominance, which would be Phoenix.
I think that's fair. Game 5 is a pivotal game in that series, as is this one with the Celtics getting their ass beat, and I can't believe it still. I know this is a Western. I just want to say the Knicks suck and the Heat suck. I thoroughly believe both of those teams suck. And I don't know if I told you before the show or during the show, even if the Heat were to win the NBA championship this year, I would still walk away saying the Heat suck. I don't know how this is happening.
I mean, if Percival was here, he'd probably be losing his mind. The fact that you were continuously, I mean, you're staying consistent. You said that they were shitty at the beginning, like in the regular season. You said it when they were in the play-in, and you're saying it now. So that's fine. I, on the other hand, told you do not want to play this team in the playoffs. Look where we're at. Teams that are losing to them.
I still can't believe it. All right, let's go make some money. Let's get to our second to last segment.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money, money.
making some money, baby. DraftKings, FanDuel, even Caesars now. Come at us. We'll sponsor the show. Get on us. I think we're 3-4. We took a break last week, mostly because I ran out of money on my bank account. All full disclosure, but I rallied back, baby. I had a $10 free bet, and I turned it to $200. So
hey, let's go.
that's gambling for you. I lose 8 straight bets that are like negative 300 that are just like guaranteed odds, and then I win like a crazy one out of nowhere. So we're back, baby. We're gonna go basketball, NBA parlay, same game parlay, and I think we had a theme, right? The Heat wave. Even though I think the Heat suck, I said the Knicks equally suck. So we're gonna go with the Heat this week, aren't we?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I'm sticking with the player props or the player bets, and then you can hit the team or the listeners with your side of things. I'm going with Mr. Timothy Butler. I think he's going to continuously put up numbers. You can lock it in. If I would Chuck, I'd say you can guarantee it. I think he's dropping 25 plus on the Knicks to close out the season.
And you said you looked at the distribution of points before the podcast, and I think he's hit 25 in every playoff game he's played in.
Every single one of them. Not only has it been every single one of them, let me rip off the numbers for you really quickly because they're like absolutely insane. If you go back to first round series, that was the Bucks, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so if you go back to the Bucks, and I know he was injured for one of the games against the Knicks, but these are his numbers, and this is why I think 25 plus is good. 35, 25, 30, 56, 42, 25, 28, 27. He's averaging like 37 points in the playoffs. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good one. It's a negative 220, so we'll pair that with a few things. What was your next parlay? Like, we're going 4 legs.
Yeah, this one is a little bit tougher, but I think we were doing the all out like actual double for Bam Adebayo. I think Jimmy's going to do his thing when it comes to scoring, and the easier way for Bam to get the double is 10 and 10. I think they're going to need that secondary punch to put away the Knicks. You know, I think they're at the Garden for the last game of the season, right? I say last game, but I'm pretty sure that just means they're going to end it. Yeah, they're at the Garden for game 5.
Yeah.
Essentially, I think that, Jimmy's going to do his thing, and if they get that Rob into his Batman performance for Bam, put him away early, it's lights out for them, and let's get some money on it.
Yeah, so we know he's not going to get the assist. That's not going to happen. Right. Points, 10 points should be doable. The rebounds is the tough one. I think you looked at the stats, and it's like a 50-50 shot. It's a coin flip.
Mm-hmm.
I think half of his games he's gone over 10 or 10 or more, and then the other half he hasn't. I will say like that's probably our toughest leg. We're taking some shots this week. Why not? My 2 legs, I'm not going points, or I'm not going props. I'm going more game props. I'm trying to get the actual numbers right now, the odds. So my first one, I'm going to fade the Knicks because we're going to go with the Heat overall. Like we're feeling the Heat. And I'm going to go under 111.5. So if they score 111 or less, we win that leg. We looked up the Heat Knicks total points for the total points for Knicks in the series. They haven't gone over that number once.
Right. No, they did. Over 111 or just 111?
Over 111.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
They haven't gone over one, so I picked like a really safe one, and I'm pretty sure it's like a decent number. It's minus 210, so I think that's decent for the odds. We'll take that. And then finally, I'm going to take the Heat. I wasn't sure what I want to do as far as like the spread. I took a peek at. I don't want to take the money. I mean, we could take the money line, but at this point, it's 4 legs. We don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Just because we already have so much skin in the game. I decided to go with plus 5.5. Right now, as of the recording, the spread's plus 3.5. And I thought about maybe doing 4.5, but the difference between 4.5 and 5.5 is minuscule. So I'll just take the extra point and give up a $1 just to be a little more safe. So yeah, I'm taking that at minus 135 right now. So altogether, we're at plus 380. That's a pretty hefty parlay. I think those are all doable legs as long as the Heat win. I mean, if the Knicks come out and, take care of business, which they shouldn't, they should try not to be embarrassed. But they've been so bad all series that I don't feel confident betting with the Knicks at all.
No, I don't blame you, and I think I think this whole thing is setting up for what we think is going to be. I wasn't going to use the word embarrassment, but I think it's just going to be a controlled win. You know, Coach Spo is got Coach Tibbs on his last legs of being a coach in the NBA. We may not see him return after this type of performance. I could see them letting him go, honestly.
If you lose to this shit ass Heat team, you should lose your job. Look at Coach Bud.
Yeah, he's gone. He's definitely gone because of it. But hey,
when the Heat beat Doc Rivers or Mazzullo next round, they'll be fired. When the Heat win the championship, whoever's on the coach on the side, fire everyone. That's
everybody that loses to the Heat, the coach is just fired.
Absolutely. That's how you know the team's bad, when you fire the coach when you lose to him. I was just thinking to myself, man, if the 76ers end up going to the Eastern Conference Finals and it's 76ers Miami Heat, well, Jimmy Butler is going to
my God, I forgot about that.
Cast him away to keep Tobias Harris.
Oh, that is I want that. I want that bad now that you just said that. I forgot. Yeah, you pencil the Heat for the finals if that happens as a matchup, because Jimmy will die if he doesn't score 50 each. He will literally stay on the floor and make it so he gets 50 on them.
Either way, as long as Miami advances, the storyline will be juicy, because you'll have either a rematch of last year's Eastern Conference Finals, or you'll have Jimmy versus the Philadelphia 76ers, who cast him away.
There's more meat on the bone with it being Philly versus Miami. That is the bigger match. We already seen Miami in Boston. We saw the Heat take it. So we saw with the Heat take it in the bubble, but the Celtics take it in last year.
I'm excited, man. Let's close this thing out.
The show is coming to an end. But first, it's time to get to anything we've missed. It's closing time. 1 segment. 2 takes. Narco.
It's that time of the show where we get the last things out. We talked all NBA today, so I'm sure there are things outside of basketball that are on your mind that you saw maybe as a story. I'll kick us off. I don't know if you were prepared for this.
I am.
Okay. Do you want to go with dead horses or racism?
Wow. Go dead horses on this one, because I don't want to go down a dark road with the racism one.
Okay, dead horses. So dead horses is not a dark alley.
Not as much as the racism part, but let's see where this goes.
Yeah, man, dude. I don't know if you saw what happened with the Kentucky Derby this past weekend. And Churchill Down in general. They had 5 horses had to be put down during that week, 2 on the Derby day, because they broke their leg or they had irreparable leg injuries. It's a combination of riders riding them too hard. Basically, like if it gets sloppy or if the ground's not stable, there are certain turns you can take with a horse that are safe. It's just riders trying to be overly aggressive and win the race and take turns they shouldn't, and the horse snaps part of their leg and they take them to the back and make glue out of them. So yeah, man, it's crazy. The horse racing needs some regulation, because they also had a bunch of horses that got kicked out for doping. So like, it's just horse racing's bananas, dude. And last thing about Vegas, I was at the sports book watching the horse races on the Derby day with all the degenerates. First of all, man, I had never seen people chain smoke cigarettes as fast as I did at that sports book. Secondly, though, yeah, man, like I don't think the people who actually bet or like care about horse racing even care about this happening, because they're just like, man, this fucking horse lost
money in it.
They didn't care. So someone's got to clean up a little the horse racing thing. You didn't want the racism thing. I will just say this: the Oakland A's commentator was put on.
Oh yeah, I already heard about that one. Which is I'm glad. Yeah,
they took a trip to the Negro League Museum, and I will just say this: he didn't call it the Negro League Museum.
Sure didn't. And
you can take a guess at what he called it.
His co-host didn't even have any. I don't want to go down that dark road, but yeah, that was clear as day. But that is actually
How
really
do you
dark.
know he's suspended for that? By the way,
They relieved him of his duties for
they
the
relieved
season.
him.
He's not fired. He's hey, you won't be on air for a while.
How do you make that mistake? You like that's not a mistake you make. Like
No, he said it so clean that it made it seem like it's an everyday thing. Again, I don't want to go down that. I mean, we're a positive show.
You love baseball. Like you are a commentator. You know what the museum's called. You know what the league was called. That's all I'm going to say. Sorry.
Supposedly. Buff, what's good, man? I appreciate you jumping in. We're about to head out too, which is tough. I mean, you caught us right at the very end. Also, by the way, I can't believe you didn't go to see the trumpet guy, Jimmy Trumpet, or what's his name?
Timmy Trumpet.
Trumpet. Like we have this segment, and you didn't even go see him. I'm sorry. See, Buff, you already missed the Knicks. We're about to end it. Good thing you missed it. But hey, if you do,
zero kind words were said about the Knicks today.
Yeah, if you get a chance, we're gonna be back up. The podcast will be live tomorrow, so you can definitely recap it and pull up your opinions and suggestions and whatnot on our Facebook page. My closing take is actually really quickly. You said you didn't want to go the basketball route. I am gonna go the basketball route, but it's not NBA. Big shout out and kudos to Bronny James Jr.
Oh yeah,
I mean, I love the fact that he's not only just going to USC, go Trojans for him, but he is projected the bag for the NIL, like the most expensive in the history. Granted, it's very short, but like over $5 million, ridiculous. Like, the James family continues to win. I don't know if the timeline will line up because I think right now he's like late to first round, early second round pick. If he does enter the draft, he gets drafted because of his name. So if he goes to the, USC, has a decent year and he wants to come back to try to win the next year, like that lineup, I mean, that timeline with him playing with his dad, I don't know if LeBron's going to be around when he's 40, you know what I'm saying? 40, 41. So like, that's going to be tough.
He'll be like in the UD role.
Yeah, like exactly. Just kind of like GMing from the bench. But I kudos to it. I may have my grievances or like my issues, not even issues. I have my, let's say, battles with LeBron James, even though he's on the Lakers team, me being a Kobe fan, but I got no animosity with his son. And I think Bryce and Bronny, they got a bright future. So I'm happy for him, not only going to USC, but potentially securing a huge bag with the NIL.
You said he had the biggest NIL deal ever.
Hasn't been signed yet. It's just projected.
Okay. I'm saying
he's still technically in high school.
NIL is pretty new, like 2 years, I think, or something like that. Who do you think would have had the biggest NIL deal of all time if it was available? I don't know, 20, 30 years ago. I would guess Zion.
Yeah.
Just because he's like, he's the biggest college athlete I could remember as far as a basketball player. I know like there's probably football players that were bigger, but like football players don't get paid like basketball players.
No, it's Zion. It's a 100% Zion Williamson. He was known globally when he was like 14 years old.
Yeah.
Like people in China, obviously with YouTube and TikTok and the Instagram, social medias, like he was known internationally, globally wise, when he was a teenager. So yeah, he would have secured like NBA contract money if the NIL was available back then.
It's crazy. It's a bummer, Buffalo. You're here a little bit late. Catch us next Tuesday. We'll talk about how your Knicks got lost in 5. We'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, man, when we come back, it's going to be a tough one when we know that it was, not the season that y'all wanted, but it's the season that you deserve.
Hey, I've been saying this whole time, man, the Heat suck. So if the Knicks come back, I'm going to be like, told you so.
Yeah, easy for you to say now.
All right, D, get us out of here, buddy.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate y'all that were able to tune in. As we say, hit us up on all of our socials. You got us on Facebook. You got us on Twitter. You can find us on our webpage. Anything to try to promote this place, Apple Music, Spotify, anything that you can find our podcast on. It does help. Please like, subscribe, review. Anything and everything is all much and greatly appreciated. As we say when we're dipping up out of here, please, y'all take care of y'all mentals. Please take care of y'all physicals. Make sure y'all take care of y'all chicken, y'all cheering. More importantly, I appreciate y'all that were involved with the GBA Olympics. This $200 controller is a credit to you guys letting Carolina win the championship last week. Peace.
You won?
Yes, sir, baby.
Hell yeah.